Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Just a little breaking news surprise show this afternoon. Really excited to dive into the news that broke. If you guys have not seen yet, the Green Bay Packers have officially activated rookie fifth-round pick Colin Oliver off of the PUP list. All right, so what are we going to talk about here? We're going to talk about Colin Oliver and the type of player he is, the build that he is, right? Coming out of college, he was a hybrid top player. We've got the entire draft profile put together over on our Patreon group. If you guys were a member of our Patreon page, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, you guys know that's kind of the hub for our NFL draft coverage, right? And every player that had a top 30 visit, every player that was obviously drafted by the Packers, we did a deep dive, extensive profile we put together for those players. So we'll dive into that, kind of give you guys a refresher on the type of player that Colin Oliver is. I know he's a fifth-round pick. You kind of, all right, curb the enthusiasm. Colin Oliver is a player, in my opinion, that could be a impact player right from day one. Not that he's going to step in and take a ton of reps, whether it's at defensive line or stack back or playing hybrid type of linebacker position. But he is a player I think could contribute on special teams immediately, and they're going to sprinkle in from time to time. We'll talk about some of the stats that he had coming into the NFL draft. Before we get into it, if you would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're just fans like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you know when we go live anytime in the future with this breaking news like right now. Let's get into it. First things first, Wes Heikwitz put the tweet out there. The Packers have activated rookie fifth-round pick Colin Oliver off of the physically unable to perform list. He takes John Fitzpatrick's roster spot. We talked about it earlier today. John Fitzpatrick officially put on IR, tore his Achilles tendon, unfortunately, so he is out for the year. Now, as Wes Heikwitz says here, 13 defensive linemen now on Green Bay's 53-man roster. That's wild, a wild number there, obviously. Now, what does that mean, though? You know, they like to play a lot of fire zone blitz without Micah Parsons last year. I'm thinking they're wanting a couple extra bodies to rotate in and out of that defensive line. We've been doing it a lot with Kingsley Enagbare with the 55 drop. I think that's kind of a spot that Colin Oliver could contribute. Now, I know Aaron Mosby went down with an injury. I haven't heard the details in terms of the severity of that injury. He may have even came back in the game there against Chicago. That's the first thing it triggered in my mind is like if Colin Oliver is up to speed and he's not kind of playing behind the eight ball here, he could be an immediate contributor on special teams, on kick coverage, punt coverage, potentially. Obviously, Aaron Mosby is it seems like he's in on a lot of tackles when it comes to kick coverage. So, again, I'm really excited about Colin Oliver. I know I'm not the only one, as Wendell Ferrer actually put out on X just a second ago. I can get it pulled up for you guys and gals here. Wendell Ferrer put this up and said, Colin Oliver didn't play much last year, obviously talking about at Oklahoma State because of injury. But when he did, he had a 31.8% pass rush win rate at Oklahoma State. That sounds like it's probably a PFF statistic, but nonetheless, Colin Oliver was a beast getting into the backfield. Now, we showed some of the tape, and we'll get into the full draft profile next. We showed some of the tape of him dropping into coverage quite a bit, right? And he was dynamic. He looked comfortable playing the will backer position, dropping into coverage, kind of covering most of the time he was covering the boundary side of the field when he would drop into coverage. But when they would put him, you know, on a green dog or just let him fire off the line with a will blitz, or if he was playing Sam on a specific formation, specific down and distance, he looked aggressive. He looked comfortable. He looked very violent in rushing the quarterback. So I think this is a player that could do both, to be honest with you. He's got the versatility. Now, the question is, coming back from the hammy, it's my understanding he had to have surgery on the hamstring. That's a question too, right? Now, when you hear a surgery took place as opposed to this guy keeps having hamstring problems, I feel a little more confident in the fact that he had surgery. They probably feel pretty good about him. All right, that should have fixed the problem, right? As opposed to, okay, it's partially torn, or it's a deep strain or a deep pull, and now we're just trying to inch him back. You guys know those things can linger, as we've seen with Clay Matthews late in his career, right? So again, I'm excited to see what he can do here. I thought that was an interesting number about Colin Oliver there. And obviously, as Wendell Ferrer said, he went on a 53-man roster as well. So he is ready to come out of the gate running. Now, let's talk for a second about the draft profile. I won't go in all the information. There's a ton of info that we put into these articles over at our Patreon group during the draft process. So we'll just walk through some of the more important stuff, right? So Green Bay Packers draft spotlight, Colin Oliver, a dynamic edge rusher with game-changing potential. Now, again, will he play stack back or will he play edge? Matt LaFleur said earlier this year, I want to say it was a few weeks ago when they first opened up his practice window, that 21-day practice window for Colin Oliver. I want to say he specifically said he would be rushing the quarterback. Now, what does that mean, right? Is the coach just going to come out and tell you exactly what they're going to do? No. I think there's going to be a significant amount of snaps for Colin Oliver where he does drop into coverage, and they kind of showcase that hybrid ability, right? That's just my personal opinion. So, and to answer your question, Doug, a 5th-round pick, if I remember correctly. He was a 5th-round pick. He was asking what round was he picked. So let's just move it along here. Again, you guys can go check out the entire write-up. I love kind of looking at their background from a high school standpoint. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big high school football fan. I love following prospects from the high school level through college and all the way to the pros. We'll just hit this for a second here. Green Bay Packers continue to fortify their defense front in the 2025 NFL Draft, selecting Oklahoma State edge rusher Colin Oliver. Got cut off there. The Green Bay Packers continue to okay, so that was just a typo there. Colin Oliver with the 159th pick in the 5th round, following their 4th-round selection of Texas's Barron Sorrell. The Packers doubled down on pass rush talent to bolster Hafley's aggressive 4-3 scheme. Oliver, a 6'2", 240-pound dynamo from Oklahoma State, brings elite athleticism, a relentless motor, and a versatile skill set that could see him carve out a unique role in Green Bay as a situational pass rusher and special team standout. I will say this. When they drafted Colin Oliver, I'm excited about all the rookies, right? Every draft season, we're fired up to see all of them. This is one of probably 3 where I was like, this dude right here, man, when you watch the tape in college, he really does flash. Now, again, he's a 5th-round pick. There's a reason he fell to the 5th round, so I don't expect him to come out like gangbusters and just light the world on fire. But he was one of the players I was more excited about just watching his tape, right? As a native of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Colin Oliver was a 3-star recruit in the 21 class, ranked as the 501st overall prospect by the On3 industry ranking with a grade of 86.66 at Edmond Santa Fe High School. The 6'2", 220-pound defensive end showcased explosive athleticism, recording a 4.6 40. Again, that was coming out of high school, and earning all-state honors. His senior year tape displayed a quick first step, natural bend, and a knack for disrupting plays in the backfield. Oliver drew offers from Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, and Nebraska. Those are some big schools, guys. Big schools. I mean, you're talking about 2 teams right there in the college football playoff this year. Actually, 3. Right, Ole Miss is in there too. So Nebraska being the only one that did not make the college football playoff in terms of the top offers there for him. Now, obviously, he settled and he chose to stay home with Oklahoma State, where he quickly emerged as one of the Big 12's most disruptive defenders. And again, man, just a versatile athlete, no doubt about it. Let's just jump ahead here. Let's talk about the PFF grades for a second, then we'll get into the RAS score. All right, so his senior year or his last year in college, I can't remember if he was a junior. It was actually a senior is what it's showing here on the card. 88.6. Now, notice there's no ranking there, right? Why? Because he got hurt. How many snaps did he have? It looks like he had only about 80 snaps, if I'm reading this correctly. So, again, minimal snaps. So let's go back to his entire career. Starting in 2021, his freshman year, 77.0 PFF grade. He was the 55th highest graded, I imagine, defensive end edge defender, right, in all of college football. Guys, that's impressive as a freshman, right? In 2022, he falls back to a 71.5, still a solid PFF grade. 2023, he improved to a 73. So what you're seeing, if you have to remove the 88.6, right, from the injury-riddled, senior year of college, and you look at the rest of them, you're talking about a guy who's as stable as they come. He had a ceiling of 77 if you remove the 88.6 and a floor of 71.5 in terms of PFF grade. So pretty impressive. Pass rush grade, this is what Wendell Ferrer was talking about with the pass rush win rate, 90.8 pass rush grade. Run defense grade, 67.7, not bad. Overall defensive grade of 88.6 with a coverage grade of 63.3. All right, so moving along, the RAS score. 8.92 was the RAS. You look at him and you think he's a little bit undersized. This is a very poor composite size grade. Why is that? He's 6 foot, 6'1" is what he measured in at, right? That scores a 1.70. His weight was 240 pounds. That's a 1.16. So when you see that lot of a defensive end, you think, okay, he's probably going to play stack backer. Well, again, Matt LaFleur said he's an edge defender, a pass rusher. If they put some weight on him, and I'm sure they did, that's going to help that RAS aspect a little bit. Bench press, however, 24 reps, and you see it on the tape. He is strong at the point of attack. To be a smaller guy, 7.37 was the score there. The explosion grade is what's really wild. He has an elite explosion grade. Vertical jump of 39 inches, scoring a 9.81 there. A broad jump of 10.06, scoring a 9.61. That gives him an elite explosion grade. And then, of course, the composite speed grade was also elite. This is the thing that really flashed. You can see it on tape, too. 40-yard dash, 4.56 40, 20-yard split, a 2.66, and then the 10-yard split, a 1.57. Now, anytime you see that 10-yard split with a score of a 9.75, you go back and try to cross-check it with the explosion grade, and you see it's there. So when you look at the explosion grade and you include the 10-yard split as an extension of said explosion grade, you're talking about a 9.81 in vertical, a 9.61 in broad jump, and then a 10-yard split of a 9.75. This is an elite, quick twitch, first step athlete. However, the 40-yard dash, a 4.56, scores a 9.83. He's got the top end speed as well. So again, what's the pros and cons of a player that's built like Colin Oliver coming out of Oklahoma State? The arm length is good, right? 30.75 is the arm length. I'm assuming that's decent, right? So what you're seeing is a guy who's undersized, but he's got all the explosion. The reality is, if this guy had been 6'3", 6'4", he probably would have an elite 9.5 plus RAS score, and he probably would have been drafted in the second round, maybe even the first round, right? That's how impressive his RAS, his athletic ability truly is, right? Injury and character concerns. This is always important. I love diving into this in draft during draft coverage because I think sometimes this can determine whether Packers will draft a player. Oliver's 2024 season was derailed by a foot injury sustained in week 2, limiting him to 2 games and raising questions about his durability. However, he was fully cleared by the combine and showed no lingering effects, posting elite testing numbers. Prior to 2024, Oliver was durable, playing 41 games over 3 seasons with no major injuries. Off the field, Oliver is a high-character prospect known for his work ethic and leadership. A vocal leader at Oklahoma State, he was praised by coaches for his selflessness and ability to rally teammates. His Oklahoma roots and underdog mentality, again, 3-star athlete coming out of high school, fighting the, quote, tweener label, resonate with Green Bay's blue-collar ethos, making him a cultural fit for the Packers locker room. That's probably the thing that I'm most excited about. You see the elite versatility when it comes to the RAS score, and then you hear his background, and he's kind of an underdog. This guy's going to fit right in with the Green Bay Packers defense. I guarantee you that. So just moving along, don't take my word for it. Let's see what Dane Brugler said, okay? Dane Brugler, draft expert. He has an awesome guide called The Beast every year, right? That draft guide. A 3-year starter at Oklahoma State, Oliver was a hybrid weak side backer and former defensive coordinator Brian Nardo's 3-3-5 base scheme. Interesting, right? What have you guys heard us call out on Chalk Talk this year? The nickel 3-3-5 Joker 1 look with Micah playing that middle stack backer. Could that be a spot for him? Possibly. I don't know. But again, he's got familiarity with the 3-3-5 defense. Now, don't get me wrong. Jeff Hafley's defense is mostly a nickel 4-2-5, right? That's mostly what he runs. But we sprinkled in some 3-3-5 looks with Micah playing that hybrid pass rusher in the A gaps there, with the 1 tech. That's why we called it Joker 1, right? His number is 1, but the Joker 1 was we were identifying where he was lining up. Like you'll hear us say Enigbare playing Joker if he's standing up at the line of scrimmage and they're in a 3-man front with it. We'll say a Joker 4, a Joker 3, kind of giving you an idea of what technique they're lining up at. So a little bit there, right? A defensive end with his first 2 seasons in Stillwater. He moved to linebacker in the spring of 2023, although he was at his best when allowed to rush the pocket. He led the team in sacks his first 3 seasons and likely would have again in 2024 were it not for a season-ending foot injury. So again, Dane Brugler hands down sees him as a pass rusher, same as Matt LaFleur said earlier I think it was a couple weeks ago. With his short area burst and high energy, that matches the RAS, right? Oliver makes himself a fast, small target for blockers, and he plays with better force than expected for his size. Probably violent hands, right? Good punch at the point of attack. That goes back to the bench press as well, right? Violent hands. Though it is easy to love his football playing temperament, his sawed-off body can leave him tied up and overwhelmed, especially in tight quarters. Overall, Oliver is an explosive, leverage-based rusher, but he lacks the measurables for a full-time edge work and is unproven dropping or playing from depth. He projects best as a nickel rusher with long-term potential as a developmental off-ball linebacker. So they're saying, listen, he can rush the quarterback on third downs, but he can also play off-ball. Truly a hybrid player, no doubt. Now, the grade they had on him, a 5th to 6th round pick, Packers drafted him in the 5th round, right? No surprise there. Again, his strengths, explosive athlete, the stress blockers in space. You've got forces holding calls as a pass rusher with gap burst and ability to submarine blocking hands. Again, probably got some good bend there, smaller guy, so you can get underneath those hands from time to time. Accelerates in a blink to create immediate momentum in rush. That's that 1.57 second 10-yard split we talked about. Has some pop in the hands to rock late setting tackles. So you get a good jump on the outside, right? If you're taking an outside rush, the tackle has to reset, get his feet under him, and then bang, he's got good pop in the hands, right? Competes with physical mindset to fight off contact, alert eyes, and shows basic understanding of blocking schemes. Never lost killer instinct or rev motor, regardless of the position. So whether he's playing defensive edge or he's playing weak side stack backer, he still has that ability, that killer instinct, that revved motor, right? Regardless of where he's lining up. Has upside in coverage because of athletic tools. That's probably what shined to me on the tape when we were watching him in coverage. Like, man, this guy can cover pretty good. I mean, he may not be able to read and recognize a play as quick as other players, like, wily veterans. But when you got 4.5 40 speed and, more importantly, footwork, you can kind of make up for that lack of being able to diagnose the play, right? With that speed and athleticism. Says has upside in coverage because of the athletic tools and consistently found ways to be productive. He had 40.5 tackles for a loss in 43 career games. That's a pretty wild stat right there. I mean, he's almost averaging 1 tackle for loss in every game he played in. If you can give us half of that on the, in terms of, if he was a starting caliber player, if you could say, yeah, he's going to have a tackle for a loss every other game, that's pretty impressive for a 5th round pick, especially a rookie, right? We kind of talked a little bit about the background. Let's see here if there's anything else we want to hit just real quick, just gathering up. You can see this is a pretty extensive report. Again, you guys, make sure you go check it out in the Patreon group. If you're not a member of the Patreon group, it's the best way to support what we do here at PTA. It's patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Let's just jump into this for just a couple minutes here. We got a few more minutes. Colin Oliver, who has 2 sisters, was born and raised in Oklahoma City with his parents, Marshall and Jewel, both athletes at Southwestern Oklahoma State in the early 1990s. His father was a defensive back on the football team. His mother played basketball. So both parents, good athletes, right? Oliver showed an interest in football from a young age, and his father signed him up for Pee Wee at the age of 6. He started out as a running back and played for the PCO Panthers throughout elementary school. After the family relocated to Edmond, Oklahoma, Oliver played for the Bulldogs and helped the team to an undefeated season and Pop Warner State title. At Summit Middle School, he moved to quarterback for a few seasons, but he missed playing defense and shifted to linebacker and wide receiver. That's pretty cool, man. Hey, you're going to be the star of the team, Colin. You're going to go in there and play quarterback. I kind of miss hitting people, knocking their heads off, right? That's the type of guy you're looking for sure. Oliver enrolled at Edmond Santa Fe High, where he was a 4-year varsity letterman. He played both sides of the ball as a freshman, defensive lineman, and tight end before deciding to focus on defense as a sophomore linebacker. He posted 56 tackles as a sophomore and was off to a strong start as a junior, had 33 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, and an interception through 6 games. But he missed the second half of the 2019 season because of a bone contusion in his right knee. As a senior, Oliver led Santa Fe to a 10-3 record in the 2020 6A state championship game, lost to Jinx, it says here. He earned all-state honors and was named the Conference Defensive Player of the Year with 66 tackles, 17 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Oliver was also a standout track athlete, and as a sophomore, placed 3rd at the state championship in the high jump. There's the vertical jump. We've seen that earlier, right? He lettered his first 3 years, didn't compete as a senior, and had personal bests of 6 feet 2 inches in the high jump, 21-1 in the long jump, 44-11 in the shot put, and 110-8 in the discus throw. So just a little bit more background for you guys there. And of course, in terms of deployment possibilities, the Packers are likely to use him as a situational edge rusher with the potential to develop into a hybrid role that incorporates some stacked linebacker responsibilities, leveraging his versatility and athleticism in Jeff Hafley's 4-3 defensive scheme. Here's a breakdown of how they might deploy him. And we just went into some other stuff there, talking about the different sets and everything that Jeff Hafley uses. So again, man, Colin Oliver, he's a rookie. We got to take all that into consideration. How much will he play? I don't know. I think you'll immediately see him on special teams. And after reading that profile, you guys probably agree, right? Like when you look at how he's built, how fast he is, can't you just see him screaming down the sideline on kick and punt coverage? I mean, doesn't that just pop? I could just see that happening, right? Because he's got that 4.5 40 speed, right? He's got that great twitch, that first step. He's got good agility, all those things, right? They said he's a kind of a violent player. He's a very aggressive player, right? Somebody to just go down and blow up a blocker and look to make the tackle. That's what I'm most excited about out the gate. But who knows, man? We get to see some meaningful reps there. That with the fact that Brenton Cox Jr. is back. And by the way, Brenton Cox Jr. played great against Chicago. I want to say he was one of the higher scored players, I think in the top 5 of our defensive players in terms of PFF grade against Chicago the other night. This defensive line is starting to get bolstered a little bit. I know we lost Micah and that sucks, but you got these guys that are going to start to rotate in and get meaningful snaps. You never know when you got a late round stud until they get on the field, right? I think you're going to see Colin Oliver flash when he's out there. I definitely don't expect him to seem overwhelmed. I think at a minimum, you won't look up and go, that's a weak spot for us. That's just my personal opinion. So, with that being said, let us know in the comments. If you're watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about Colin Oliver? What kind of role do you think he'll play? How's he going to fit into this Jeff Hafley defense? I'm really, really excited to see what he can do. And who knows, man, maybe use him in a spy set every now and again, right? You may give your guys a breather, especially late in the game. I could see him being one of those guys that can mirror a mobile quarterback as well. So with that being said, thanks to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Let us know in the comments, how do you feel about this? I think this is an awesome, awesome development for the Packers as they continue to get a few of these guys back that we were expecting to have all year. I know Colin Oliver's a little bit behind the 8 ball here in terms of trying to get caught up on meaningful reps. He's got to get out there and take some, take some real shots, right? That's what it comes down to. But we want to hear from you guys in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. We may be back tonight. I got to see what's going on. You guys know how the holidays are. I'm trying to get you guys content every second I can. But we got people coming and going at the house. Mandy's been baking her ass off down there, making candy and everything else, trying to contribute to my obesity. And then we got to go to Kentucky tomorrow to see my family. So we're going to be in and out. I'm just going to try to go live every chance I get. But keep your eye on the channel. We'll let you know if we create a stream. You'll see it pop up, and we'll schedule it in advance as much as we can. May not do a show tonight, but again, just kind of keep an eye on the channel. But thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.